Welcome. I'm just going to record this too. So, Brenda, welcome. We haven't met before, so I have no idea about everything that you do, but please, if you could give in summary what it is that you do for a living and how you got to be there. What is it that got you to become a coach?
Yeah, so thank you for having the space and time to do this. It's lovely to
Welcome.
chat to you and meet you. So yeah, I do life coaching and well-being, stress management, mental health awareness training, sort of like a bunch of different options. And I've come to that quite late in life, through personal experience, as many coaches and well-being trainers do. Yeah, so I was very privileged and lucky to have a lovely job that I really enjoy for many, many years. Most of the time doing that in my career. I had some other jobs before that, and I supported environmental activists in their campaigning. So I work in the voluntary sector, but as a paid member of staff. And I loved my job, and there ups and downs like with anything, but I loved the place that I worked and everything. And then there were some big changes that were brought in, and I'd had restructuring and changes before, but this happened about 5 years ago. And long story short, it wasn't what it was sold to be, some improvements to my job and bringing in new people and some changes that I thought were going to be better, and actually ended up making me feel absolutely miserable and very stressed and very unhappy. And at the same time that that was going on, I was menopausal,
Wow.
but didn't realize the emotional impacts of the hormone changes that were happening to me. So I was kind of reacting in a very highly reactive way as well to what was happening, and not able to control my emotions, and very angry, very upset a lot. And then I also, so
I'm
three,
just
there was
I'm just really present with that at the moment because I think there's a friend of mine who doesn't understand that's the process that she's going through. And
a,
I'd love for her to hear that. So I'm going to make sure I send
I
it
was
to her
so unaware.
because,
I'm somebody who thought I was quite aware of nutrition and well-being, for myself, as an individual. I've always been interested in alternative medicine. So I thought I was quite aware of things, and I knew I was going through the menopause because, the hot flushes were starting. But before that, I'd been told anyway, because I've got a hormone imbalance, so that I knew that I was in it. But I had no clue as to the mental impacts of menopause. I just knew about the physical things. And
mm,
that was sort of something that actually my husband said to me: do you think the way you are with this work stuff going on, and how difficult you're finding everything, and how overstressed you are and very emotional, do you think it could be related to the menopause? My husband said to me one day, because I wasn't seeing it at all.
mm,
So that was a big thing. And then how things happen in threes sometimes, well, and how also you have to hit rock bottom, I think, sometimes before
yeah.
you can climb out and recognize and do something about what's going on for you.
Mm.
And I've had a long history of very short-sightedness. I've had a couple of operations on my eyes in the past, and I was getting an early cataract. So I was supposed to be, well, I did have a cataract operation, which shouldn't have been that big a deal. But when I was recovering the weekend before I was due back, I took the week off work, even though most people would go back in a day or two. And because of complications with my eyes, I thought I'll take a week off. So I'd had time off. And then after the operation, I was sitting at home in this very room looking out of the window. And you don't normally look with one eye if you've got two eyes with vision. And I looked out after, like bandages come off, and I could, all the sort of windows of my neighbours' houses were like wonky, and everything was elongated. So I was very upset that week, because obviously it hadn't quite turned out as expected. And it just, my stress levels, the fear of not being able to see properly. And also, if I had to have my other eye done, thinking I might not, be able to work anymore, because everything I do was office based on a computer, seeing people and, stuff on the computer. So I was slightly catastrophizing, but also, with a bit of validity, because it was a problem which hasn't been able to be changed. So I do have that. But what happened was, after that operation that week, the Sunday evening before I was due back to go back to work, I got the most incredible stomach cramp pains that I'd ever had, never had pain like it. And I was in agony and I was on phone to 111. And then again, another long story short, after a few weeks, I was put on the cancer pathway in case it was, something like that. I didn't have cancer, but it wasn't IBS. It was something that was.
But the stress of that is huge.
Yeah. So eventually they diagnosed an unspecified gut inflammation disorder. And, I realized after a few weeks, and I couldn't eat, I was just absolutely like not very well, basically, physically. And I kind of realized that I needed to, take steps to change, and also started to realize that it was related to the stress, and that was the extra stress of the operation and everything. Just was the triple whammy and tsunami of things that just like was my wake up call. Having said all that, that was about 5 years ago, and it led to me retraining as a life coach, because part of my journey after that was a bit of having a few coaching sessions when I had realized that the jobs and I had been seeking job change but not finding the right thing. And a woman in her mid-50s trying to change jobs, especially when you've been in the same company and the same ish job for a long time, it's really hard even to get into. It's hard for anybody, but when you've not been in that job market and job search game, that was very difficult. And then I was coached about whether I should train to be a coach, and that was really helpful. And I was just finding coaching really helpful, and I took the plunge and decided to retrain as a coach. Never thought I would be doing anything different to what I'd been doing for like 3 decades. I'd been working in this job, but I partly coached myself, and through being coached, decided not to leave that job but reduce my hours so that I have that as a cushion financially. So I'm doing this other work, alongside. So I have 2 jobs, which can be stressful sometimes, but actually nowadays I know how to manage my stress levels. I realize how much I make the stress myself, by my attitude and my reactions. And so now I've developed a course called Learn to Stress Less. I'm trying to do work in some newly emerging business. The coaching I've been doing for a couple of years, and within the last the last year, I've been doing more training work, and both in charities, in co-work spaces, and doing my own courses online. And I've developed a thing out of my Learn to Stress Less program, which I ran at the beginning of this year, which is a 5-week online evening class kind of thing. People wanted to do something. A couple of the people that came wanted to sort of have check-ins afterwards, because part of what I was doing was getting them to set their own, because we're all so different, aren't we? And I always think, one size does not fit all, and we all have different things that work for us. So I teach a range of things. And then, sorry, the rain's pouring down outside. It's hailstones. And so, I then set up this thing I started calling it a calm space once a month, to people to check in with themselves and set their intentions for the next month. And we do some mindfulness work, a little bit of journaling, a little bit of breath work. And I just find it for myself a really nice space to hold. And so now I've developed that into a sort of membership thing of a once a month calm club with some resources that I send people in between. And I'm just kicking the new year off with that of 6 months. People can sort of pay for 6 months to sort of come along to that. So I really enjoy doing my work. I love it. The bit I don't love so much is the marketing and
who does
for coming to things. Especially the women mainly women come to me, and the people that I work with are like what I was like. They don't put themselves first. They don't spend money on themselves. They don't make time for mental well-being. They might pay for a gym membership, but paying for something like going to a mindfulness class kind of is not easy for them. So again, it tends to be people who have either maybe got neurodiversity or have got long-term chronic pain sometimes. But, I've got a mixture of people that come, but, it tends to be people who know they've really got anxiety or stress and really know they need to try and come along. But it's a really nice space. So, so that's a bit about me. I'll stop there.
Oh, carry on, dude. So So is your long-term aim to be doing this full time and to give up the other day job?
It is that, but I kind of recognise. So I turned 60 this year, which was a bit of a milestone. I still can't quite believe, how did I get here? So in a way, I want to be giving up that day job anyway, because I'll be retiring in maybe 5 or 6 or 7 years. But I can't see me giving up work completely. So this will be a nice thing to do as a sort of part-time work as I move into retirement, but also focusing more on this. This is my passion now. You know, I used to have a passion, and I still do to a certain extent, about environmental issues, climate change, etc. But now I sort of like to help the people who are trying to make change happen, whether it's social or environmental. Make sure they look after themselves first and don't too stressed or burnt out.
So, very important.
Sorry, can you hear that noise?
I can, yeah. It's really.
I've sat in the kitchen and I've got a skylight above me. I'm hoping it will stop soon.
So whereabouts are you?
I live in Brighton.
Oh, okay. So you've got the coastal winds and the rain.
Yeah, and hail. It's actually big hailstones.
Wow. Okay. Well, I hope it doesn't come this way.
Where are you?
I'm in Ascot.
Okay. It's calming down a little bit now.
Good. So, do you do one-to-one coaching then as well alongside?
Yeah, so I do one-to-one coaching. It's usually people that have got something in their life they're not happy with. Usually it's their job. And I sort of get them to think about how much do they really want to leave, or can there be things that are in their control that they can change. And if they do want to leave, we go through some various processes, and I do exercises with people to look at like work-life balance, relationships, whether it's in work or at home, that are difficult. You know, where people are facing change or have had some change imposed on them. Usually that's what I do, the one-to-one coaching. But I also do, if they're local to me, outdoor coaching, walking outdoors.
Oh, brilliant. That's great.
Just, you know,
I find that's a really good way to get people to be more creative, isn't it? To be less sort of in the head and more in the intuition and the,
yeah. The conversation flow. It's more difficult if you want to take notes. And for me, that is usually, but also for the client. But yeah, I really love doing it. To be this, my joy would be all my clients would be outdoor walking coaching. But we don't always walk. We sometimes sit outdoors if somebody has difficulty walking, or if it's a really nice view or a nice day, we'll sit on a bench and do it. So I really, that's one of my areas that I like to do, because I think also just being in green space releases something and makes you uplifted anyway. And obviously walking side by side talking is very different to a direct screen conversation. You can connect more in person. So
I'm just thinking if there's somebody in Brighton who is or does work with neurodiversity, because she has her own neurodiversity, and she does my brain has gone now, improv.
Oh, I know her. I
probably Susie Payton.
Yes, I know her.
Oh, you know her. Okay, so I was going to introduce you if you didn't know. So at the moment you're getting more signups for your Calm
Club. Yeah, it's a very small group at the moment. I've got space for a few more. We've had a group of 6 of us doing it for the last 6 months, and a couple of them can't do it anymore. So I've got some more space and I can take a few more. And I do, what people can do is come along and try it out, see if they like it. And then I ask them to sort of book a few sessions, a bit like a Pilates or a yoga class, how you would do that. And I run it once a month because that's what the people who have been doing it wanted, because it tends to be people who are quite busy and haven't got much time for themselves. So once a month is what they wanted to do. I am considering maybe doing another session a month if I can get enough people interested, but at the moment I need to fill that space. The space is up on the one I'm running, which is the second Thursday of the month in the evening.
Right, and that's on Zoom.
Yes, I do that on Zoom because then it's people can be anywhere. I've got somebody in Devon, somebody in Portugal was joining, a
Oh,
Pilates teacher that I knew. She's one of the people that's not going to be doing it, I don't think, in January. But yes, nearly all people kind of that I either know or they know someone I know, because it's
yeah.
it's quite a thing for people to come along to something where they've never tried that before. And I
Mm.
do feel like I've got quite an offering that I don't see anywhere else, because it's almost everything except the meditation. I notice you do meditation as well as Reiki.
Mm.
And I say it's not so I don't, it's not like full on meditation, but there are aspects of meditative and mindfulness practices that I use that I find helpful. And I do a mix of things with people so they can experience it and then go away and use the bits that they like themselves. So it helps with insomnia. I've got a couple of people that have had insomnia. Of course, that's a classic menopause symptom, which again, I didn't realize. I thought I was having insomnia because of the stress, which I probably was as well, but it's definitely menopause related, because it's changed since I've gone on HRT. My insomnia is almost completely gone. So I know it was menopause more than the stress that was causing it. So yeah, it's yes, it's a really nice group, and I really like doing it. And as I say, I haven't seen this kind of offering anywhere else, a regular thing that you can do from your own home, that you don't need any resources for. You don't need to have had any experience doing meditation or mindfulness. And the feedback I get from people, like somebody who came on my Learn to Stress Less course, where I go into why we're doing it and we practice deeper and we do a lot more in that course. But she still uses the breathwork patterns that I taught her. Obviously, there's lots of different breathwork patterns, but I teach one in particular that I like. But yeah, we do some of that in the sessions, a little bit of making notes, just anything that's in your head, get it down on paper. People really love that. And I do a little bit of movement. So it's not exercise, but things that I've picked up from a coach that I follow and from other places that are just nice to release nice endorphins and reduce the cortisol. So it's all kind of like evidence backed, but we don't talk about that in the session. We just do that. And everybody really likes the few minutes we do letting people write, which isn't exactly, it's kind of journaling, but it's just writing down stuff in your head, getting it out of your head. And everybody really likes the movement. We do a few little one or two little movement things each month as well, which aren't, you don't have to be fit. You don't even have to get up your chair to do them, some of them. And they're really nice practices.
Yeah, it's so good for the body to move, isn't it? So do you ever have guests that come in?
I haven't at the moment because it's been so small, but it is something I've been considering to do, something like that, because I think it would be really nice for people. But it's quite, it's only been going kind of a few months, and the paid one, I was piloting it earlier in the year. So yeah, but that's something I can consider. Yeah, it's a good point.
Well, I'm available for any sessions that you want to do some meditation. I do emotional release work as well, so which is a very gentle way of releasing emotions without having to go into the story of what the emotion is about.
Great.
I interview people because I became very unwell when my father was dying of cancer, and it got me into this work that I do. I started to learn massage, etc. And I realized that the stress of him developing and then dying of cancer, I wasn't managing it properly and well enough. And I would sort of try and avoid the feelings rather than going into the feelings. And so I've since learned that actually the only way is through and in, and to listen to those feelings. As hard as it may be at times, it eases quicker. You go through the process quicker if you're able to sit with. And then you get to understand and learn that we always have emotions that we always need to sit with, and there's no end to our journey, and that's okay. But I, in doing so, have wanted to allow others the opportunity to express their emotions, to be present with where they're at. And so I ask everyone that I interview a very simple question that you get asked probably every day. And we have a very standard response to that question. We don't tend to sort of go, let me think about that and come up with an honest response. And so I just giving everybody the opportunity to be authentically you in this moment, but to be heard, and to ask the very simple question, how are you and how are you feeling in this moment?
So I'm feeling really upbeat and happy with life. And in fact, yesterday when I was walking into town to go and meet a friend, I thought, gosh, I'm so grateful to be alive, and partly I've had 2 bereavements very close this year. So I connect with you on that front. Which can at times be overwhelming emotion, but other times is making me, this whole thing of, making the most of life and doing the things I want to do is really important, as much as I can, around the fact that I need to earn a living, which is the same with all of us. So I'm really okay most of the time. And today I'm really okay because I'm doing this work and not the other job. So I'm very okay. Yeah. And I have to say, I do have some frustration, though, because of this thing about trying to open the doors to my Calm Club and make that offering and not having as much interest as you would hope to have when you do these kind of things. And it's always difficult in December. People are busy, etc. So, yeah, there is some frustration underneath the happiness and okayness.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for sharing that. And it's really, it's quite hard at times, isn't it, to I know all too well, I've been self-employed now for 15 years and it is my full-time work. So it is always in the head of, it's up and down all the time. There's no sort of standard, I very rarely said, oh, wow, that was an amazing financial week. There has been weeks where it has been, but more often than not, I never really know. And it's always honest I think it's hard for people to be honest and say, it's not a perfect, it's not an exact science to it. And it continually takes time. It doesn't, some of us don't ever reach that point where some people do, it's completely back to back, solid and great. Some people don't, and life is just like that. And I from my perspective, I completely understand all of that because it's been 15 years of that up and down, and to understand that, but when you need to pay bills, it's a lot tougher to do it. So, having that other job is a good decision to have kept on, because it takes some of that pressure away, doesn't it?
Yeah, it definitely does. And at first I was quite resentful, but now I'm quite grateful for it because, as I said, I've been doing this only a couple of years. And it does take, I had a friend who's a coach, who said to me it took her 3 to 5 years to establish her business about 15 years ago, to the point where she could earn a living from it. And yeah, I'm very grateful to have that sort of solid foundation, because what it means is that everything I do in this work is what I love about the work is that I am in command, in control. It's I decide what to do, and I get a whole mixture of things to do, like from creating things in Canva. If you told me I was making my own flyers and things 5 years ago, that was one of my weak points. But I'm self-taught now with that, using something like MailChimp or other digital platforms. I can learn it and do it. I have got a bit of a block on WordPress, but I will overcome that block at some point.
If you ever need any help with that, my partner is a WordPress website designer. So
well, I have one, and I'm trying to wean myself off using him and doing it myself, but hasn't quite happened yet. But yeah, thank you. That's always useful to know. But yeah, no, it's I love the fact that I have the freedom, the creativity, and all the joy that I get from it is because I'm not stressing about I've only broken even the last year, or the first 2 years of the business. I broke even, which was
That's
fine.
amazing.
Yeah, but I wasn't spending out too much money because I'm fairly cautious because it was a new thing. But yeah, I spent a lot of money qualifying and training, so we discount that. So I'm not counting that in that budget. But yeah, so that whole I don't have that neediness. If I meet new people, I do an offer of like a full hour of a free coaching session, come getting to know me, so that, because coaching is such a personal experience, people really need to trust you, know you a bit, feel comfortable to talk to you. And of course, I'm mostly doing it on Zoom the first session, even if we do face to face afterwards if they're nearby. And that takes time and energy, and it's all no obligation. They don't have to do it further with me. And then if they don't want to do it further with me, that's okay with me, because it's obviously the right decision for them at that time. Whereas if I didn't have my other income, I think I'd feel a bit, and also I might feel more rejected. It's quite difficult as a practitioner. Like, I don't know if you find this, if people do decide not to work with you or whatever, you have to train yourself not to take it personally.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because we're human too.
Absolutely. No, I have people, I had somebody contact me the other day who wanted to book an appointment. She booked in and then she's cancelled on the system and hasn't explained. But I have to just go, well, life gets in the way. So she's obviously, not needed. But your mind could take you to, well, maybe she's not thinks I'm not good enough or something, which is ridiculous because she's never met me. So why would that, but you could go there easily. So, yeah, it is very tough journey being self-employed, but it's a very rewarding one in so many other ways, whereas not necessarily financially.
Yeah. That's the thing that I'm really, really enjoying. And also the skills and knowledge that I've got, that I've taught myself or have been on courses for, I just feel a different person now. I think, and also I think because I am older and more mature, I'm quite authentic in me. What you see is what you get. I don't, there's no other side. Obviously we all have a little bit of hidden stuff, but so people do meet me, Brenda, as me, and they can decide if they like that or not. And also I've got that maturity and years of experience of having worked, having changed, and I did change jobs a couple of times before I came to the job that I did do for the long period of time. So I do have quite a lot of life experience, which is when I did my coach training diploma, they said, you're not coming to this new as just with the coach. Obviously you are for the coaching skills, but you've got all the other stuff that you've had before is also in you, and it's part. And like, I heard you say, you're that intuition and tapping into the essence of people. That's part of what I do with my work. I try and really I listen very carefully, and I sort of pull out things from people that they're saying that they might not recognize that they're saying or thinking about themselves. So we do, depending on the client, I sort of really help them go on a journey of their own self-exploration and understanding, but using tools that we're taught in coach training, which I love doing as well. It's really good. And I adapt what I do to the person in front of me. I don't have on, a set coaching program. You do these 6 sessions and this, you'll have found your new job or something like that. It's not like that. It's a separate journey for each of us.
Sounds brilliant. So thank you for coming today. Is there anything else that you would like to share?
No, I haven't even been looking at the time. I've been so engrossed in the conversation. That says a lot. No, if anyone's interested, you can find me stresslesscoach.co.uk, or I'm on all the, not all, but normal platforms. I do quite a lot of networking and posting on LinkedIn, so I must find you. I don't know, are you on LinkedIn, Amanda?
I am, yes, Amanda Riley. Yeah, I'll send you.
I'll have a look for you. And I just love chatting to people, getting to know them, and I'm really interested I've joined your Facebook group and I've been watching your stuff, so I'm interested in all the work you do as well.
Fabulous. Thank you very much for coming along.
Lovely to talk to you.
Have a beautiful day.